Welcome to Enneagram 9 in 9, Bite-Sized Wisdom for Life. I'm Jen Stanley. Let's dive in. Hello, Enneagram 2, the helper, and one of the most popular Enneagram numbers for mistyping. So with the Enneagram 2, also known as the helper, we get a lot of people who say, oh, that person loves to help other people, so they must be a 2. But the truth is that many numbers like to help other people. And so that's really not the best way to know if you are an Enneagram 2. So let's look at the core 4 for Enneagram 2. This is going to be, how do I process? What do I want? What do I avoid? And what is my deepest desire? Those are the core 4 for each Enneagram number. The Enneagram 2 processes through the heart center. This is the center of intelligence that processes the world through emotion, through a sense of empathy and relational understanding of what's going on in the world around them and within themselves. It means that when a 2 or someone who is in this heart emotion center, that even when they're sitting in a meeting about data and analytics, they're still sensing the emotion and the relational dynamics in the room. They can't help it. It's just how they process the world and how they process the information that comes in is going to be processed at an emotional level first. Now, what is the core motivation of a 2? Well, it is relational connection. What a 2 wants more than anything in the world is to be relationally connected to the people around them. And they typically do that through helping and serving. So a 2 looks at the people in the room and they say, oh, I love feeling relationally connected. How can I best relationally connect to the people in this room, whether they are total strangers or whether they are their family members and closest friends? And they say, okay, I think the best way for me to relationally connect is for me to jump in and start helping and start meeting needs. And because a 2 has so much emotional intelligence and emotional empathy, many times they actually can sense what another person needs before that person senses it themselves. And so it's easy for the 2 to jump in and help and serve because they kind of know what needs to happen. They just have that intuitive, empathetic knowing and understanding of what would be helpful to other people. So they jump in, and it's just important to remember that the motivation of a 2 is not to help and serve. The motivation of a 2 is to be relationally connected, and they do that through helping and serving. What does a 2 avoid? Well, it's interesting. A 2 avoids being needy. So while they're busy helping all the people around them, meeting the needs of everyone around them, they actually are avoiding any kind of personal needs that they have or requiring help from someone else. That's a very scary, vulnerable place for a 2 to be. They want to be able to do it all and help everyone around them without needing any help themselves. And can somebody say burnouts? Yes, that's what we often see within the 2. So a 2 is avoiding their own needs and they're avoiding asking for help. The deepest desire of a 2, the deepest desire is to be wanted. And remember, these deepest desires go back to the lost childhood message. It's the message that just simply, no matter how good your parents were, no matter what a great environment you were raised in, it doesn't matter. You could be raised in the best of the best homes or the worst of the worst. Every child has a missed message that just didn't get through. And for the 2, it was that of being wanted. Maybe they were just overlooked. Maybe somebody else in their family had a lot of needs, and so they kind of learned early on that their needs were not as important as everyone else's. But what the two learned early on was that when they felt wanted was when they were helping. Oh, look what a great helper you are. Oh, thank you so much for helping mommy. Those kind of things made the two feel so loved that they then interpreted, oh, when I help and serve, then I get that relational connection that I really, really want. And so a two is constantly looking to feel wanted by the people around them. That's the core four for the Enneagram 2. But here are a couple of extra details as you are investigating and relating to the Enneagram 2. The first is that when a 2 is in a very secure place, a very easy, they feel really, really safe, they're going to actually be able to take care of themselves. They're going to be able to sit back and be the one maybe reading a book on the porch while other people are making dinner. They're going to be able to identify, hey, I actually know what I need. I actually understand that my needs are important. It's going to look a lot more like an Enneagram 4. They're going to be able to tap into creativity and tap into that feeling of like, oh, I feel that I am special and that I can see the uniqueness in everyone around me. Now, when a 2 is highly stressed, they actually move to the Enneagram 8. And so they can become very demanding, controlling, lose their temper. They go from this really sweet and kind and taking care of everybody to high stress brings out demanding and controlling and very aggressive behavior. So if that's ever been confusing to you, why that happens, it happens to 2s under a lot of stress. It takes a lot of bravery to raise your hand and say, I don't really know myself as well as I thought I did. Or even, I've forgotten who I am. I don't remember anymore because I've spent so much of my life pouring it out into other people that I've forgotten myself. If you are asking yourself those questions, this podcast is for you. If you're worried that your best years are behind you, I promise you they are not. We just have this beautiful opportunity to rediscover who we are and take that into the next chapters, which are going to be your best years yet. So if you are out there and you are like, yes, I want to know my number and I want to do it in a thoughtful way, then contact me, because one thing that I love to do is to help people through this discovery process. And you can do that by just clicking on the link in the show notes that says Discover My Number. And what we're going to do is we're going to send you a highly trustworthy test. You're going to take that test. It's going to come back with 3 options. And then you and I will hop on a Zoom call together, and we're going to go through and interpret the findings and then help you take that next step to which number you should begin trying on first. So all you have to do is go to the show notes and go to the link that says Discover My Number, and that's going to take you to all the information you need to take that respected test and then have a consult with me.